Hey gang, welcome back to the Thursday afternoon live stream chat question answer session. I don't know if that's enough things. I did label this video differently. Like I did on Monday, I was playing around with different titles because in the past, all I've done is put the date for the live stream. I didn't think about adding in a name for what we're doing. And so now I've done that. Hopefully that'll maybe increase the number of viewers that come up on the Thursday afternoon live stream. Early on, I have Crash Rider checking in from Southern Indiana. Glad you're here. Jerry checking in, asking Crash Rider a question. Bob Knoll checking in. Of course, Jerry is here from Middle Tennessee. And CSLRC Lorne Cronish. Okay. Glad you're here. Seth Dextrays. Hello, Barry. Sticker was in the mail today. You're welcome. Glad you're here, Seth. Glad you got the sticker. Good. Glad you're here. Okay. Randy. Hello, everyone. Hi, Barry. Just finished watching your show. Just finished watching you show us you can count to 115 and a half. Impressive, but yes, that battery is great. Battery. Now you lost me. 150. Oh, you're talking about the chainsaw. I got you. Yep. Yeah. The little chainsaw test that I did where I wanted to see how many cuts I could get with that Cobalt chainsaw. You're right. 115 and a half. Gotcha. Stein checking in. Glad you're here. Let's see. Bob Knoll. Good afternoon, everybody. RJ checking in from Norway. Glad you're here. Jeff Schultz. Northwestern PA here. All right. Jack W checking in. And Stein says I have mail. So that means he's going to try. He wants to get on the live stream. And that's fine. We're going to do that. I'll send you an invite. And we'll get you on in just, as time permits. So invite is sent. Okay. Let me see who else is here. Yeah, two of you from Norway. You and RJ. Yep. Oh, wow. We have Wally of the North checking in. Wow. Haven't heard from you in a while, Wally. Glad you're here. Finally started body work on the 68. Next phase is underway. Awesome. That's awesome. David and Cheryl checking in. Glad you're here. And if you haven't, if you've watched the last video that I did, I started rebuilding that fender on Jade. And so I think that is going along pretty well. I was surprised to, again, find out how good the fender was. If you look in the background there, you can see I've started rebuilding the nose to that fender. And it's one of those things where when I rebuild something, and I try to go into detail and explain, and also, if I make a mistake, I'm going to show it, or if I make a bad decision, I'll show it. So, I ran into just a minor issue trying to put it back together, but I, of course, went around it and fixed it. But as I'm doing these things, I guess how do I want to word it? Because everybody wants to see details. They want to see explanations and understand what's going on. And so I have to keep that in mind when I'm making these type of videos. And along with that, I have to be, what do I want to use? Say, I guess responsible, maybe a good word, in the way that I approach my repairs. So it would have been very easy for me to just kind of jump in there and try to throw stuff together and see if it works. But I usually let stuff like that stew in my mind or two. And I try to reason with myself why the things are, or why I need to approach it this way or that way. That little nose repair on the front of that fender is actually more complicated than I think I thought, because it's a compound curve. And along with that, you've got straight edges and a variety of things you have to deal with to make all that complexity come together. And that's why when I approach something like that, instead of looking at it from how it was stamped in the factory, I have to approach it from piece by piece by piece. So as a compound curve with angles and all that sort of thing, I break it down into, this plane, this plane, this plane, and work with each piece. So I've gotten pretty close with that fender. It's almost, I'm almost done tack welding. I see you there, Stein. It's almost done tack welding pieces together, and it's looking really good. I'm pretty happy with how it's turning out so far. Wally says he's hibernating. Jerry, the 66 Mustang got a front end alignment yesterday. The new exhaust is Saturday. I really like the fender rebuild. Good information. Thank you. Dave Conville checking in. You and Jack must be on a break. And then David Cheryl, we're going to start on the T-Bird this weekend. Cool. Very good. Very good. Okay. I am going to get hold on. Randy Owl. I personally think that fender repair was a fantastic video and length was perfect. You had a good explanation of how to look at reverse of what happened to get the dents out. Yes. Thank you. Oh wow, Jeff Reynolds. You're late today. You were an hour early last week, and now you're late today. Come on, man. All right, let me check with Stein and see what's going on with him. So, hey, Stein, how you doing?
Pretty well here, but not so well here, maybe. Like I told you in the mail yesterday.
That will definitely improve.
Yeah, I hope so, because I could feel. I took a power nap this evening, and this camera thing is so difficult. These three fingers on the right hand had that sensation, well about. But these three fingers, none whatsoever.
None whatsoever. So just to give everybody a heads up, Stein had carpal tunnel surgery done on his left hand. And so that puts you out of work for how long?
Just I was at work today because as you know, I'm a teacher, so yes. I can. I'm right-handed, so I can write. But coming up, the right-hand surgery in some months, then maybe I'll be put on the sidelines, because you don't want to see my my left hand writing,
yes,
and so
I'm sure.
So my pupils also don't want, I guess. So. But the left hand was the worst, so it was good that they took it first.
Well, isn't it amazing how that surgery you've already you've got your hand back?
Exactly.
Because I had both of my hands cut, both of them.
Yeah.
I sent that to my email, but when I had mine done, it was 13 years ago, and my hands were so bad that I couldn't even tie my shoes. That's how horribly bad they were. But I just kept on abusing them. And when they made that cut, oh my goodness, best thing ever. I had both, because this one they did outpatient. I was awake when they cut this one. And then, but the problem was I felt it when they were cutting, and they didn't. They didn't like that. They didn't like that. So when I went in to get the right hand cut, they put me to sleep completely. They said, we can't take that chance. So
the same with me yesterday. He was busy cutting and I couldn't feel anything, but all of a sudden I could feel a severe pain, actually. And then, so I screamed like I probably scared people from neighboring rooms, the way I screamed. But so then he put another syringe and injected more of the sedation. So then it was fine. But and then at a few points he hit a nerve, and it was like an electric shock went through my hand.
Yep.
But I want to ask about your surgery. Did they take both hands at the same time?
No.
Okay.
No, I did the left hand first.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe a month or so later.
Okay, that's fast.
I did the right hand.
So I've really been looking forward to this. The first first appointment was on actually on the 7th of October. Then I got a letter a couple of weeks before that said, no, we have to postpone it to the 4th of November. And I guess all due to Corona and things like that. So I was not happy about that because to fall asleep, there is only one way, or let me say two, but it's the same, on the left side or on the right side, with my hands under.
Yeah.
And when I try to get my sleep like that sensations in those three fingers start. So I can hang them down on the side of the bed on one side because my wife is obviously sleeping on the other side. So, but then that's uncomfortable, so I can't get my sleep. So it's like a dilemma. What do I do now? Do I want to feel the sensation and not get my sleep that way, or do I want to lie uncomfortably and not get my sleep that way? So yeah. it's when every morning I woke up the last year, I think that sensation was here. And even if I'm driving the car, sitting with my left hand, for example, then I have to put it down on the lower part of the steering wheel or change hands, sit with my phone for a long time, everything. But now, like I said, the power nap told me that this was a successful surgery. So
yes,
thumbs up for that. It's
Paul is asking where you're from, but you're from Norway. So
yes, I am.
So he's from Norway, Paul. Yeah, B squared. Yeah, it is car talk. We're getting there.
Yeah,
I know that you had that BMW, and I assume I know you talked about it before, where you were trying to get your camera set up, and you ran into problems with the battery and different things like that. So you can't really make any videos yet. But have you resolved that?
Yeah, the battery has it finally arrived some time ago, but then there was an issue in the garage because there were too many cars in there, so I couldn't get access to. We had three people renting the garage, so one of them had to put his truck in there to fix something, and then he had a health issue, so he couldn't do it, and then the car was unmovable, so it is still there, and then. But we have resolved it. It will be moved now. But when I have this hand, I can't do much on I can film the car, but there will be no progress. So I'll rather put it on hold until things are more ready.
Okay.
So to say. Mm-hmm.
Let me give a comment here. RJ, I'm watching with my 6-year-old son. He wants me to say that Mustang is the coolest car on earth. I'll give you a bell for that.
Yeah.
It's one of the coolest.
Give him one bell from me too.
Yes. Now I see B squared says I thought this was car talk. Well, it is, and I'm curious. Do you have a question about something in particular, B squared? If you'd like us to address, there are different things going on in different countries, and this afternoon, of course, I do this so that we can have people from Europe. So, like, Norway. Is here. I know we have Jeff from. Wait a minute. Let me get this right. Barking, Essex, UK, London, something. So we know Jeff is here. But anyway, if you do have a question, B squared, by all means.
Yeah, I will also talk about cars and car repairs. I actually made a comment on the last video on Jade. Did you see that? The mini angle grinder that you're using it so much, almost in every video. I've tried to get it in Norway, but I can't find it anywhere. It's so annoying.
Well, that one I use in particular is from Harbor Freight. So I don't know if there's I don't know if you have Harbor Freight or something similar.
No, we don't. But okay. Harbor Freight, is that like the low price? Yeah, we have something similar to that, but I checked there, they don't have it.
Okay.
They have the big ones and then the straight ones, but that one is not so good for those things that you use it for, to grind down welds and things like that. It's
Yeah, the one I have, and I'll grab it just and show you. Where's it at? Okay, here it is. This one is made by Central Pneumatic, or sold through a company called Century Pneumatic.
Mhm.
Okay, and
It
these
was
are
in the
available.
front end, though. That proves how much you use it.
Yeah, but these are there's a variety of these at Harbor Freight. Okay, so you have the little straight ones. You'll have the angle one, and there's a cheaper version of this. And I say cheaper because what it does is the airflow, the return air comes out the bottom. It blows out the back. This one has more power because the air blows out the front. It actually makes it better. And it also, when you're using it, because that air blowing out the front, if you take, you'll see may see me at times take my hand and put it in front.
To blow the dust away.
Right. So as what it's doing is I'm using cupping my hand to make sure it blows away from me. But this one is better because it's, like I said, the air goes straight through and makes it run faster. They have all kinds of these, available in different sizes and whatnot at Harbor Freight. And I will say this one, I think if you get it on sale, it's like $19.
Wow.
Yeah. And I had for a while there, I had a bunch of dead ones that I had used them up so bad that I would just go buy another one because it's not worth it to try to fix.
Exactly.
But these things, I might wear out one a year, maybe, but I use it every day. I
said I can't find them in Norway, it's not exactly true because I did find one, but it was like around 200, the same as $200, and then it's not worth it actually. It came in a box with some of different things of those you put in the front, but seriously, I'm not buying that for that price.
Okay, so RJ says you can buy those at Biltema.
Biltema, it's a Swedish brand actually that is established in Norway, and like that is the one I was talking about, like Harbor Freight. Bil means car actually, so car theme. Okay. Actually. Mm-hmm. So, but they don't have it at Biltema actually.
Okay.
They have the bigger ones and then the straight ones, but not that one.
Well, I don't know what it would cost to ship you one of these.
Freaking lot, like you said before.
Yeah, I know it add up pretty quick. Let me get up here. There's a B Squared says, I'm going to try and change the power steering pump in inner outer hoses in my Honda Odyssey, but just came to listen. Well, I'm glad you're here either way. Ethan, hey everyone, just got my license and I'm in the market for a first vehicle. Any suggestions? That's a tough question to answer, Ethan.
Probably not a Mustang.
Probably not a Mustang. Probably not at this point. Paul asked, what's your budget? Which is a good question to ask. Ethan, balancing work and high school, my budget is a little over 30,000. Okay. That's a pretty big budget. So
it is
a big budget.
If he means dollars at least.
That's $30,000, I think is what he's saying. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, and Paul says that's really a lot for a first car. It is.
It is.
He also says, for sure, I work 4 jobs at the moment, and I figure it's time for a car. Well, if you're working 4 jobs, I'll give you 4 bells for that. If you just got your license, that means you're probably a teenager. And if you're hustling and making 4 jobs or doing 4 jobs, good for you.
Where did he find time to have the driving lessons?
What's that?
When did he find time to get his driving lessons?
Oh, that's really hard to say. That's really hard to say.
Yeah, he needs to sleep and eat too.
Let's see. Oh, Jerry says, Stein, you may be able to order online and get it shipped to you. You're one of these.
Yeah, it is possible that too, but I checked on Amazon and whatever item I clicked, this item doesn't ship to Norway, it says. So I don't know. I was into your page. It wasn't listed on your Amazon page, by the way.
Right. Well, maybe I need to get it on there then.
Yeah, or maybe eBay or Wish or any of those things you can find it also. But I don't want to buy. I bought things from Wish several times, and I can say I learned my lesson now.
It says make a wish.
Make a wish. Yeah.
Okay, so let me go back to Ethan's question for a second. What kind of vehicle for a first car? Well, Ethan, I'll give you some parameters, just in my opinion. What do you need for a first car? Like, do you need an SUV type of thing, or do you need a standard runaround car? Do you need something to haul stuff? Do you need a truck? There's lots of variables that come into play. I know for me, I currently drive just a little Ford Focus, little 4-door Ford Focus, because it gets cheap on gas. I can throw junk in the back seat. I don't really care if it gets dinged up and anything. So, but it's not a $30,000 car either. But you may look at a little SUV of some sort, just because of the convenience of having storage and space. So just think about what you really need it for and what you may or may not be hauling in the vehicle. Just the way I look at it. So,
and for 30,000, you can get a brand new car. Although I wouldn't advise anyone to buy a brand new car.
No, I would not either. Don't buy a brand new car. You can find some pretty good deals.
Drops immediately.
Yeah, you can find some pretty good deals out there. I wouldn't even spend $30,000 on it. If it was my first car, I would not spend $30,000 on it.
Me neither.
I would stay around maybe 10 or 12 if you had the budget to spend. And that way, you buy a used car, you drive it, you enjoy it. If something happens to it, you're not in the hole. If something breaks, you just fix it and keep moving. But yeah, I would not spend $30,000. Even as a 53-year-old, I wouldn't want a new car, period. Just because it's so expensive to buy one. I would always buy a used car and just keep on, driving.
And then the new cars, the value drops the day you sign the contract. The day after you will, if you want to sell it, then you will have to drop the price for at least 15 to 20%.
Yep.
So, and for $10,000 to $12,000, you would get a car with no issues, because if you buy them too cheap, you will have problems all the time.
Yep.
You fix one thing, and then the next day another thing breaks, and then you have to fix that too.
Right. Ethan says, my school offers a driver's education class. We take trips down to the DMV. It's a super cool class, and I recently had the opportunity to take my test and pass. I work with special education kids. Well, that's a big bell. That's a big bell, Ethan. Good for you.
Yeah.
And Butch points out that insurance costs, you got to be careful with that, because you get a newer car. Well, let's put it this way. If you get a brand new car, here's something you need to think about. They require you to get full coverage insurance. That's the way it works. If you finance anything, they want you to have full coverage insurance. So if you buy something cheaper, and I'm not saying don't get full coverage, I'm just telling you that to save money, you could have liability insurance on a cheaper car, just so you're covered in case you hit somebody else. So just those are multiple things that come into play.
And also that with insurance, I'm not sure if you have the same system in America as we have in Norway, but if it's your first car and your first insurance, you start with the full price. Here, if you drive without anything happening, you get a bonus, like 10% the first year, 20% off, and then up to I now have 70% off from the normal insurance, because I've been driving without any damages for many years.
If you do get a ticket or something here in the States, they will raise your rates.
Okay.
But I know that there are some insurance companies that offer discounts if you drive safely for a period of time. They will give you some discounts, but I just don't really, it's probably a little bit different between here and there.
Yeah, of course. And then here also, it's like if you are 18, you can take the driver's license at 18 here. I believe it's 16 in America, with some limits, I guess. But anyway, if you are 18 and want to have insurance on especially a sports car, for example, then it's extremely expensive.
Sure it is.
But if you are older, then that is taken into consideration, and you get some discount. And yeah, it depends on the car also. Some cars are more expensive to have insurance on than others.
We have Guido checking in. Haven't seen him in a while. Glad he's here. B Squared says,
was it him that had like similar?
Yes, he did. He had a wrist injury as well. B Squared uses best paint when you get it and have no payments is always a bonus. That is very true.
Exactly.
Jerry's, a BMW reduces in value by 80% after 6 years.
That is not true. That is
in
not
the States
true.
it is. In the States it
That
is.
is not true.
In the States it is.
Okay. But then when they become veteran cars, the value will increase again.
Not here in the States.
Okay.
Well, but a lot of things are like a 318, the smaller ones. Now, if it's a whatever, I don't know what the numbers are, but the bigger, more expensive ones, they'll hold the value a bit longer. But
yeah,
for the most part, they drop pretty quick.
I guess so.
Ethan says, I work hard labor on farm, considering I live in Montana. I also had been saving from babysitting neighbors' kids and whatnot. I think trucks would be a good first car, but I'm not sure. Well, I mean, if you're out in Montana, a truck is probably a good idea. That's probably what most people are driving out there, I assume. That or an SUV. You may need something with 4-wheel drive because Montana, I'm sure, gets snow. So just kind of think about those things. RJ says that Jula has them also, Stein.
Okay, then I'll go check there.
Go check at Jula.
It's a long drive, but anyway, I'll have maybe go there one day and then check. I can check online first.
Ethan says, I'm not very car smart, so deciding on a car, let alone a truck, is challenging. Well, the thing is, if you're looking at a vehicle, I would lean towards an SUV, 4-wheel drive. Don't go crazy with, a big V8 engine. Get something that's mid-size just because it's cheaper. And, but just consider the ideas of what you're going to use it for and how you're going to use it. So I think an SUV is probably more in your range. Guido said registration for my 65 Mustang in California is $155 a year. Wow.
That's cheap.
You know what it is in Georgia? It is $20.
That's even cheaper.
$20 to register my old GMC truck and the Mustangs. Anything that's over 25 years old, it's $20.
Given all I've heard about California, it should be an own country, maybe.
Yeah, it should be.
There's so many rules and crazy laws out there that it's a beautiful place, I think, but the strange law they have, like you can't fix your car in your own yard. Right. Seriously?
Yeah, yeah. B Squared says, yes, the truck would probably be good on a farm. Trucks tend to keep their value longer too. That is true. And do you have to drive longer distances from a rural area to a school, et cetera? That could help determine as well. So that's some good topics of conversation there. Dion Melendez checking in. RJ, if I lived in U.S. and I was buying my first car, I would consider a C1500, not a car, though, cheap in many parts available, easy to work on also. That is true. That is true. Paul says I would recommend a Lexus. They're very reliable and hold their value very well. That is true, too. A Lexus is the upgraded Toyota. And I was thinking myself a Toyota Highlander or something, 4Runner in that range of size. But, a Lexus is a good vehicle. Dion, S10 is one I've noticed that is great first truck, especially while learning how to fix it yourself. So that's a good point. Guido, question do Fastbacks bring good money in U.S. dollars in Australia? Okay. So there's a question that if we had Derek Pro on here, he could answer that for us. Do Fastbacks bring good money in U.S. dollars in Australia? And I'm going to say the answer is yes. So Guido, maybe we need to hook you up with Derek because I know he does stuff with that, where he sells Mustangs in Australia. So maybe we can connect you two somehow, and you can relate that conversation with him. Dion, in Tennessee, my 2000 S10 was $23 to register. Yep. And Karsten is here. Hi, good evening. And I believe Karsten is in Denmark, if I'm right.
He is in my neighborhood, yeah.
Okay, well, good. I'm glad he's here as well. Okay, so Guido says, who is that? Derek Pro is one of the, he's been on here several times on this live stream. I can probably get an email to connect you to if need be. And we'll see what we can figure out. 68 saying my car was $300 in 1998, but was also my dad buying it from a friend. It's $300. Oh, you're saying paid $300 for your dad's 68? That's a good friend. Karsten, we have just closed down the part of Denmark that I live in, so have just made me 4 weeks to go and mess with my car. Okay. Well, I mean, that's one way to look at it. If you can't go out and do things, you can stay at home and work on your cars.
But it deserves a bell.
What's that? Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know.
A bell.
Closed down. I don't know if I can.
Yeah, but that gives him time to work on his car for 4 weeks. Yeah, I think okay. that is a bell thing.
I'll give him a bell for that. He can work on his car. So you got to be able to work on your car. But I know most people would rather be working. Like,
yeah,
go to work, do your thing.
How is it there now, like corona-wise?
Here?
Yeah.
It depends on who's running the show. Because they keep saying there's, the cases are going up and the cases are going up, but I don't know how accurate any of that is because it's just always the numbers tend to get skewed all over the place. So you'll see one number that says the cases are going up. They want to scare you into thinking that we have 100,000 new cases, whatever. But what they don't tell you is we have 10 million people recover from it.
Exactly.
They don't want to tell you that there's good things about it. They just want to keep you in the dark and stay home, don't do anything,
Yeah, and in a way, I think it's good also because if we just kept on living life as normal, then the cases would go up very fast. The real cases. Mm-hmm.
Possibly.
Yeah, but still, the normal flu, at least in Norway, I'm not sure how it is in the rest of the world. A normal flu has killed more people so far this year than Corona has. But the difference is Corona is much more infectious. It's much easier to pass on, but it's not so deadly. And it has mutated also into a softer version, I think.
Well, see, what happens here is, people get sick and they may have a heart condition or they may have diabetes or they may have something like that. Mm-hmm. And it makes it worse for them. Well, then they immediately say they died from COVID-19. Well, no, they died from complications that were enhanced by COVID-19. Mm-hmm. But they want to make sure it's COVID-19. You're in trouble. So anyway,
wow.
Guido. Wait, Carson says we have a whole lot of mink farms which have been infected with COVID-19. That doesn't sound good. I don't know how do you treat each one of the little minks?
And how do you tell them to stay 1 meter apart from each other?
Yeah. Now, is it different for them? Because for us, it's 6 feet. Is a mink only 1.5 feet? Is there a different scale for a mink?
Maybe.
I don't know how that works.
So they are in cages anyway. So if they put the cages far away from each other, or only every second or every third or something, then they might not get infected.
Guido says CDC now says 85,000 were heart related. So they're talking about the deaths were actually heart conditions. So instead of saying, straight up COVID. And he also says this state, which is California, wants to lock us down. Yeah. Dion, a buddy of mine, died in a car accident that tested positive weeks prior, and on his death certificate, cause of death was Corona. That's crazy.
It is.
That's crazy. I mean, I
heard. I met a friend the other day. He's from Lithuania, and there he said that if a person is sent to the morgue, the normal procedure the body will stay there for 2 weeks. But if the family states that it is Corona, they will release the body after 1 day. So then, of course, you will have many cases with fake corona because they want their bodies out and bury them faster.
That's not good.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So Carson reiterated. So we are on lockdown for 4 weeks. You know, as we're talking about these different things, you know, and this is kind of a little off subject, but it is car related because we were talking about cars primarily. And I've shown this before, where I have gone and I want to give a I don't know what some bells, let's say, for the little Hot Wheels car companies. You know, the Hot Wheels and Matchbox and all those different ones that make these cars. Because as kids, I mean, Stein, did you have little cars whenever you were, you know?
Oh, and I had these sets that I could build them myself in plastic.
Okay, yeah, model kits. Yeah.
That's what brought me into this business.
Oh, building the planes and such. Yes,
building planes. Yeah, I have one there also. You've seen them before, but yeah, planes, cars, ships in plastic. These plastic parts. So I had a lot of them when I was a kid. Yeah.
So I had them as well, and so what I try to do whenever I go to the local grocery or wherever, and I look at the Hot Wheels cars because I want to find like Mustangs, you know, stuff like that, which is getting hard to find. Then I was at the grocery store the other day, and I found this is kind of a neat little car. It's a Hudson Hornet.
Wow.
Okay, and it was, you know, they raced these back in the 50s and 60s, I guess. But one of the cooler things I found was this kind of rat rod 52 Chevy truck. They have, you know, they did the paint on it, the patina. It has wide tires underneath it. It's a pretty cool looking little truck. So I was really happy to see that. But the thing that I really found the other day, I was at a local discount store, and I finally was able to buy a 1970 Ford Mustang Boss 429. Now this thing's pretty cool because this is from Johnny Lightning. And, you know, these companies go to a lot of effort to make details. So like you can hopefully see, I don't know, it actually has colored taillights, you know, they're red. The emblem of the Mustang and the grill is visible. On the side, it actually says Boss 429 in small letters. It has a little wing on the back. I mean, and the hood opens. I know the hood opens, but I just, you know, I've been trying to find, I still want to find like a 69 that's an Acapulco blue. But as I find these things, you know, and more, I'm looking at these from my grandson. You know, I want to make sure I get him going on the right path for the little collector stuff. So, but I was really surprised when I saw that Mustang because, man, it's nice. It is really well done.
It is.
Unfortunately, the color is pastel blue, which is not what I was hoping for, but it's all they had available.
Do you keep them in the boxes or do you take them out and put them on the display?
It depends on the car. It depends on the car because, you know, like in my garage here, I have a whole bunch on my desk, but they get covered in dust, you know, and so I keep them clean. I'll keep them in the car or in a package. Let me go back up here a second. Yeah. Jeff Wall says states get paid for each case of Corona. So yeah, we know that's another curious thing. Guido to Stein, who was the best Austrian F1 pilot?
I'm not sure if I understand the question, but
I don't know either. But he says Lauda is my pick.
So
I don't know.
Niki Lauda, Formula One.
Okay, there we go. So now you know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Reese, my high school has been shut down for 2 weeks because of a party that infected kids. Oh man. Yeah, they're still struggling with all this stuff all over the country. Guido, that's awesome, Barry. I love to find Hot Wheels. They're doing some cool stuff. They are doing some really cool stuff with what's available right now. I still would like to see, though, somebody come out with a really nice little 69 Mach 1. It's, for some reason, they just don't. You can't find them, and I don't know if they make them. They're like they'll do something stupid and put like flames all over it and big ugly.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like that's not how they're supposed to look. So,
But you can repaint it.
well, not me.
Did you check eBay?
I haven't. I'm not that dedicated. I just like to stumble upon them.
Oh yeah.
Sammy Lisa Smith is checking in. Paul is asking, what are your plans with the interior of Jade? Will you upgrade to deluxe interior? I haven't decided yet because the car, when I bought it, all the interior was already recovered. The seats there's nothing wrong with the seats. And I don't know if I can justify changing things out at this point. I would like to. I know it had a console in it. I know I need to fix up the dash. I need to fix up the gauges. I don't know exactly what condition those are in overall, but I've looked at the idea of adding aftermarket gauges. I have a kit. I think I mentioned on Monday that I have a kit from maybe Excel. I don't remember. Autometer. It's Autometer. I have a full kit from Autometer that was designed or designated for 68 Camaro, but you can put them in whatever you want as long as they will fit. But as far as the interior, I'll probably go back to the standard headliner and also may upgrade the center console, but I haven't decided exactly yet. The console I have, I think, is broken. And I thought about building my own console just because, but I haven't gotten that far yet. Or ideally, I want to get it in paint and then start narrowing down those other pieces. So, I should point out, we now have 70 viewers, 70 on this live stream. That is great. I've never had 70 on a Thursday live stream. So I'm glad everybody is here and checking in.
Mm-hmm. How do you have 96 or something on the one Monday night stream?
Well, Monday night, I think we had 117 this past
week. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But 70 from Europe is also it's also nice. And I see you are getting close to 45,000 subscribers now.
Yes, it is getting close.
Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to show off with my hand, but the doctor even said that I should keep it higher than the heart. And as I was holding it down, I could feel pain now. So as I lift it up, then it's better because the blood flows. And
that makes sense. That makes sense.
I'm not trying to show off.
No, that's fine. Dion, what's your recommendations for standing clear off of a S10 cab as far as a curve so I don't bite past the primer? That's a really tough question. It's bite past the primer. So you're going to take the clear and the base off? Is that the goal? Or are you going to try to repaint the original or repaint the color, I guess? That's pretty tough to answer because a lot of those trucks, the clear coat flaked off. It just fell apart. You would probably have to go with the least aggressive grit you could handle, maybe 1500 wet, and try to stand carefully on those corners to see what happens. But I can't say for sure because I don't know how thick the paint was to begin with. And as we know, corners are so tough. You could also try using Scotch-Brite, either red or gray, and just kind of work it with your fingers and see what happens. But that's about as much as I can recommend. Let's see. Jelly, what's your opinions on the Infiniti G37 or even any other Infiniti sports cars your way around? Well, that is a good question. I have not dealt with an Infiniti G37.
I don't know. I don't even know what it is.
An Infiniti is the upscale Nissan. So like the Toyota has the Lexus, Honda has the Acura, and I think Nissan is the Infiniti if I'm not mistaken. But
they also had Skyline. I remember that.
Right.
Nissan Skyline is also a very cool car.
Yes. But I have not dealt with those, so I don't have a good answer for you. Here's a good question. Goofball Gaming, what cam can you put on a 318 Magnum? So it's a Mopar engine, and I don't deal directly with Mopar stuff. I have used to work on them a long time ago, but I can't say specifically what cam you can put in. Now you could go, if it's a stock engine, you can go to Summit Racing and look at the variables that they offer. Also, what's the other company? Or Summit Jegs is another one you could look up and see what they offer. And you got to be careful with doing these cams, because sometimes if you put in something too big, it's not drivable. You want something that gives you a little rumble, but you can't go too crazy or else you won't be able to drive it very well at all. Ronald, hey Barry, Ron checking in from Northeast Tennessee. Cool. Glad you're here. Jelly, I'm looking at first cars and I was wondering which cars would be cool but decently priced. I like older sports cars too, but they're obviously not that safe. Well, here's what I'm going to recommend for you. If you're looking at which cars would be cool but decently priced, well, cool is relative. Let's put it that way. I mean, like in Australia, four-door cars are the thing. They like four-door cars. Here in the States, we're more of a two-door, coupe or sedan. So you need to kind of consider what you're looking for use. Again, as far as cars go, for safety, obviously the newer stuff has better airbags, better sensors, all those sort of things. And for me, I think it was around 2006 when they started being more proactive with airbags. So you could get them in the seat bolster, you could get them in the windshield frame around the perimeter of the driver. So if you're looking at safety, look for cars that have the modern airbag systems, because the old stuff just had an airbag in the steering wheel. And as they progressed along, they started adding it again to the sides of the vehicles as a safety thing. So consider that. And then older sports cars, there are variables that come into play with all of those as well. When you say older, how old? Because there's a lot of decisions that can be made based on the year model that you're approaching. The nice thing about old sports cars is that they're fun to drive, and they're not that expensive. They shouldn't be that expensive. But the difficulty is they don't have, like, for example, ABS brakes. So you could be in a situation where you're driving a car that, and I know from experience where, you try to rely on, you get used to a car that has modern brakes, and then you move to something that's older. You have to be proactive. You have to really think about it, because you can't just stab the brake and come to a stop. You might stab the brake and just start sliding. So those are some variables that need to come into the process.
Especially what you said about the ABS brakes. Like remember when that started to become standard on all cars? Then that transition from the traditional brakes to ABS brakes. I know the driving schools, they have the newest cars that is around. Yes. And then 18-year-olds go to driving schools, they get used to that car, but they don't have the money to buy such a car. So then they get used to the ABS, and then they are stuck with the old brakes, and then that causes a lot of accidents.
Right. And that is something, even if you were to, and this is just an example, like I have that 1931 Model A Ford. It has the original brakes on it, which are nothing more than go-kart brakes. There is no hydraulics. It is rudimentary brake system. And for me to go from that into like my Suburban, which has ABS and all the options, that's a big transition. With the Model A, I have to be like, if I see a stop sign coming up in a quarter of a mile, I have to let off the gas. I have to start trying to plan for that, because it's really gets kind of scary. Whereas a modern vehicle, you can drive right up, hit the brakes, boom, and you stop. But then you run into, like you're saying, the ABS, the non-ABS cars. And to me, again, if you're used to that ABS system, you really put yourself at risk when you get into something older that doesn't have that setup. It's just experience that pays off from all these. So let's see. Jason, I need to reupholster my 66 Mustang seats. Would you recommend treating the frames for rust, and how? Well, that depends. All those seats were bare metal. There was nothing on them to begin with. So depending on the condition of what you have now will dictate what you need to do to them. If they're just minor surface rust, it wouldn't hurt to you could wire brush them a little bit, knock some of the high stuff off, spray them with a primer, or a rust converting paint that'll keep them from rusting. The thing is, you got to remember these seats, 66 Mustang, you're talking about what, 54 years old. So when those cars were built in 66, they didn't put primer on a lot of places. They still survived in many ways. Today's cars obviously are primed all over the place. But if you were to take those old seats and just clean them up a little bit and put some primer on them, they're going to last another 50, 60 years, So it wouldn't hurt to do it, but it's up to you. I would probably just go ahead, wire brush them off as best I could. And there's various products out there that will allow you to spray a rust converter on them. So,
and of course, at least when he's already reupholstering the seats, then he gets into bare metal. So why not do it while it's open?
Yes, exactly. That's a good point. Mm-hmm. Very good. Randy Owl, hit the thumbs up, everyone. Yes. Good call, Randy. And we're up to 93 viewers. So this is pretty cool. That's really good.
Wow.
Hold on just a second. I skipped ahead here. Okay. Ronald, 70 viewers, only 14 likes. Okay. Dion is saying yes. I'm not sure what the answer was to. Guido pumping out chassis repairs while listening to the live stream. Good. Get that car fixed up. Are you actually working on? Are you at work, Guido? I'm assuming you're at work. Which Guido works at the docks out in California, so it's pretty cool. I've seen some of his live streams where he's been showing the big docks where they do all the shipping containers and stuff, and him doing maintenance on those vehicles. So that's pretty cool. Amitra Red Wine. For an inline six, how can I make it sound tough without changing motor on a budget? Well, that is a good question. The easiest thing you're going to be able to do, and I had a 70 Mustang Coupe that had a 6-cylinder in it. And what I did, and what I know Jerry is on here, he's put headers on his 66. If you put the headers on, if you buy a set of headers, you can buy a split set of headers, so it has 2 openings. And then from there, find a muffler that gives it a little bit of rumble. By having the duals, it helps separate and make the sound a little bit bigger than what it really is. So just consider that, headers and some split mufflers. That would probably be your best and easiest route.
I heard Andrew start up his inline six.
Yes.
The Iron 6.
The Iron 6, yes.
Yeah, and I thought that cool. It wasn't V8, but it was a cool sound.
Well, that's because the muffler's blown out. His muffler is basically not there.
So you shouldn't fix them. You just drive like that.
Eventually, he's got a lot of other things to fix.
He does. The frame, and then, yeah.
Okay, so there was the question before about the 318 Magnum. RJ is commenting, check out My Vintage Iron on YouTube. He has some great videos about camshafts and other engine-related stuff. So I don't know if that's in relation to that Mustang question, the 6-cylinder engine, or if it's to the camshaft question. Goofball Gaming, what's that muscle car behind you? If you're talking
Jade,
me, well, that's front fenders
from Jade,
68 Mustang known as Jade. So if you haven't seen the videos on that car, I have a whole series of videos. I think I'm up to 40 videos on the 68 Mustang Coupe that I'm building, and starting with the very beginning and taking it all apart and all the process. So that's what those fenders are, if that's what you're asking. Let's see. Wally of the North. Hey, Jason, I removed all the fabric and wire and wire brushed off the loose stuff, and then bought a metal paint with rust converter built in. So there you go. And Wally has a 68 convertible that he's rebuilding. So that's a good recommendation, Wally. Thank you.
Yeah, he was on the Viewers Project, wasn't he?
Yes, he had. Yes, he's done a couple of those. So that's really cool.
Yes. I remember. He had a nice big garage.
Yes. Jelly says, thank you very much. I will consider your suggestions. You're welcome. Paul, Crown Vics are awesome and dirt cheap. Not exactly a sports car, though. That is true. Crown Vics are pretty decent little, big cars. They're not little cars. Let's see. Jerry, on my 66 Mustang, I wire brushed and painted with frame paint. So there's another response to the question on the seats. Christy Hoya.
Oh yeah,
What does that mean? Is it just hello?
I guess so.
I don't know what it means.
Just
68 Stang Reese says Flowmaster Super 10. That's the exhaust question. And we have Jerry saying on my 66, I'm installing the VX accelerator muffler. I also installed headers and will have dual exhaust. So that's what I was referring to earlier. So that's a good way to go. Kenzie Taylor, does a 2019 Chevy Cruze LT have remote start? I'm sure it's possible.
you should have.
You'd have to check with the dealer on that. I wouldn't have an answer for that. But being an LT, it seems like that should be an option. So, but I can't say for sure.
Being from 2019, it should also be an option.
Yeah, it should be an option.
They put all those kinds of modern stuff into newer cars. It's like you're inside a computer.
Yes.
You're not driving anymore. You just press a button, I want to go there, and then the car takes you.
Pretty much. My wife has a 2013 Honda Odyssey that it had a separate fob for starting it up. You know, I know the parameters were it had to be locked, though. You couldn't start it up unless you had left it locked. And then the next morning, if you wanted to, you can hit the remote starter and it would fire it up. And then once you opened it, I think it left it running, but you would have to get in and hit your key and turn it to the on position. Otherwise, it wouldn't work. So,
it wouldn't move.
Yeah. Wow, we're up to 99 viewers. That's pretty good. I was not expecting that. So apparently, it matters what I type into the to the title.
Does that include me, the 99, or doesn't it?
Probably does. I would assume it does. So that's pretty good. And we've gotten all through the questions that people had. So we'll have to wait.
Then I have a question for you.
Okay.
The fender you bought at Summit. Then what do you call it? What was the name of that fender?
Scott Drake. The Scott Drake fender? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, Scott Drake. Yeah.
Yes.
What are you planning to do with that? You are not planning.
I've already taken it back.
Oh, you took it back, yeah.
I took it back because I mean it would probably have served well for some parts. You know, if I wanted to cut it up and make something happen with it, but it was just not.
Yeah, and then the price was $160, and I think you can get sheet metal a lot cheaper than that.
Yes. Well, I mean, yes, but like some of the stuff, like the inner part of that fender that goes behind the headlight bucket, I would have liked to have taken that piece out and used it on this fender because the one I have is damaged or rusted.
Yeah, so I saw that.
But I'm not. I'm gonna fix it, put it back together, and go from there. But the repairs right now on that fender are coming along really well. I don't know if you.
Yeah, I saw the video.
Well,
I'm
very
nice.
Part of that, and I posted pictures on Facebook for where it's at on the build right now. Once I get the corner rebuilt on that fender, then I can start putting the inner structure back in. So once this corner's done, that'll be the end of this video. And then I'll move on to fixing the other piece. And that'll be the third video is getting all this back together. So as I said before, I'm trying to make technically, shorter videos because I explained it in the past. I would make maybe an hour-long video. Well, YouTube looks at that and they go,
viewers.
What's that?
You will lose viewers if they are too long. Well,
not only that, but YouTube has an algorithm built in to where they say, well, if you have an hour-long video, they want people to watch it at least 30 minutes. They want 50% return on the video. So if I have an hour-long video and people are watching it for 5 or 10 minutes, that ratio drops tremendously. So once it does that, YouTube is like, we don't care about your video. We're not going to promote it anymore. But by making a shorter video, if I make one that's 20 minutes and people watch 10, well, I've hit the 50% mark. So that helps a lot. So
It
that's
does.
where I'm trying to address those issues and make not only better videos for that purpose, but also so that people can watch them and not have to like wonder, the process and skip through and do different things. So that's why I'm trying to make shorter videos. But Jerry has a comment. Let's see. The VX accelerator is similar to the Flowmaster 40, and Flowmaster has a website which allows you to hear the sound of the different mufflers. So there you go. So that helps answer that exhaust question. I know for me in particular on the Jade Mustang, I put on thrush welded mufflers, and the thing sounds, to me, it sounds awesome, but it also has a V8 engine with a bigger cam, so it's going to have more rumble to it automatically.
Is it a 302 in there?
It is a 302.
Mm-hmm.
It was a 289 car, but the engine that was in the car when I started on it had something was bad with it. I don't know what, because I had took it to a friend for him to rebuild it for me. He started going through it, and he's like, "This engine's junk." So he had a 302 that he put together and said, "Here you go." And so he built me a really nice 302 engine, plenty of power, and it sounds really good. And I think I have the cam specs. I have 2 videos, I think, where I list or show the car running. And on the muffler video I have the cam specs on that engine so that if people wanted to see it, they could, be interested in getting a cam. So, Bad Harry is checking in. Hi, Barry. Better late than never. And I'm looking forward to updates from him. He's doing a coupe to fastback conversion, and he sent me pictures of the process. Really making good progress, and that car is going to be pretty cool when he's done with it. So, looking forward to more updates on that.
Any news on the Brooklyn Pony?
No news.
It's just standing there.
Yep, that's where it's at right now, and that's why I'm working on Jade. I've got to get stuff done. I need to keep myself busy and working.
You're retired, so why not?
yeah, and that's where I'm at right now. So I'm going to try to get Jade. I want to get everything in primer for sure, and then if I can get it into paint, because once you get it in primer, you've only got a few more steps to get paint on it. And
exactly.
I'm really, now that this fender is coming together, that's really the last piece that I need to get squared away before I can, get
it back together.
Get it back together. So anyway,
then when you have painted it, it's only the interior left.
Yeah. I mean, I still have to get some taillights for it. Little things like, I do have like new door handles, and I have gaskets, and I have interior door panels. I have a lot of the stuff it needs there. I have the seats. I have carpet. I have a headliner. Everything I have. I mean, the only thing I'm probably lacking is if I decide to replace the dash pad because it's kind of out of shape, and I got to figure out my gauges because I don't know what they were out of the car when I got it, so I don't know what their status is, whether they function or not, or whether I'm going to even use them. But that's where I'm at right now.
Those you can get from a scrapyard, I guess.
No,
or are they hard to get?
You'd never find them. Those are, you can buy brand new, which is probably what I would have to do if I don't decide to either use what I have or convert to the other ones, the aftermarket ones that I have. So, so Paul, Jade is early if it had a 289. I would have to assume it would be early because it also had, I can't say for sure on the side markers on the front. On the front, it had regular side marker lights. On the back, it had aftermarket quarter panels already on the car that I had to remove. And I think it had screw-on reflectors on the quarters from that time. At this point, I'm not putting any reflectors on, anything on the back. I want to keep it smooth. But I would assume, if it, like you're saying, if it was early, it had a 289. What I could do, I haven't decided yet if I want to keep the 289 badging on it, or if I want to do a 302 badging, just because it's got a 302 in it now. But I haven't decided.
A question about those aftermarket parts, because I hear you often complain about they don't really fit.
Right.
Is that only for Mustangs, or will it go for Camaros or and other cars too?
It's just about every product right now. Mustangs in particular, hardly anything fits. I know that with like Camaros and certain Mopar products, Dodge and Plymouth, the company called Auto Metal Direct, they make pretty good parts. I've dealt with them on the 68 Camaro that I built, and they fit really well. But it seems like everything for the Mustang is you're fighting with it, everything. So
it seems to me like it would be a very good business to start to make perfect Mustang parts.
Well, it would be, but the problem is when you make a perfect part, you're gonna have to charge for it. Now, somebody with experience, if you have a fender that like this original fender, it'll just almost fall onto the car and fit. Well, what's that worth in the real world? $300, probably.
Maybe
$400, maybe. But most people are going to say, "I'll spend $150 and beat this thing to pieces to make it fit the car." So that's
exactly. That's the point.
That's a good point. What? Anyway, let's see. Wally of the North, I need a friend like that. My 289, as you know, needs work as well. Yes. Faraway is here. Glad you're here. And Paul, so Jade is a early 68 had a 289. Okay. Fix my spelling error. Yep. Yeah, that's all I can go by. It was an early 68, and it also had factory air conditioning. So
they upgraded to 302 later?
Apparently, you could. I guess based on the timeline, I would assume late 289 or late 68, upgraded to 302. That would be my assumption. Wally, same here. Front was stamped reflector. Near was bolt on. New fenders have indent for 68 style. Well, see, the fenders I have, you can see right there, it has the cutout for the side marker light. So it's kind of. I don't want to eliminate those. I like the way it looks. If you take those out, then people might think it's a 67, except for the 67 has different louvers on the side behind the door. So, just variables. But I'm not going to add the reflectors.
I also saw when you compared those three fenders, the one you got from that drag car plus the original and the one from Summit, that area under the hole for the side markers, that was, let's say it was like this on the original, and then the one you got from your friend, and it was like this, much more narrow. Like, seriously, how
I don't know.
What were they thinking when they made it? No,
I don't get it.
Let's just make it 2 inches more narrow. No one will see it.
Right. And I
really don't get it.
When I talk about these fenders and stuff, it's like it takes just as much effort to make a bad fender as it does to make a good fender.
Exactly. That is my point. And for me, it's like I have an iPhone.
Yeah.
And the cover for this fits this phone, but I can't try to make a Samsung cover fit this phone. It's the same,
right?
Because so like you said, you don't need to make more of an effort to make one that is like similar, at least much closer to the original. Because I guess they have the original to compare by, so they can just use a 3D printer or something.
I don't understand it, because that's what a lot of these companies will do is they'll take apart what would be a perfect fender, and
an original one.
Yeah, because the fender that I had, the one Scott Drake fender, it looked fantastic. Like as far as body lines, the
Of course.
it looked fantastic. But it doesn't matter if it can't fit the car. You don't gain anything. What's the point? Why bother? So anyway, let's see. Bad Harry, I have the main floor, rear torque box frame, rear transition, and trunk floor all in and welded. Going to measure up for cutting off roof this weekend. You're making good progress, Harry. You're making good progress. I think. I mean, I wouldn't mind coming up there and working on it with you. Honestly, I would probably have fun with somebody like you who has you're motivated, you want to get things moving. That would probably be a fun thing to do, but little out of my way.
Cutting off the roof, does it mean that he's going to convert it into a convertible?
No, convert it into a fastback.
Okay.
So it was a coupe. It's going to a fastback. So.
Yeah, like I said before, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I don't like the fastbacks. I like the coupes better.
Right.
The shape. I don't like the long flat. Like I like it to go down where the rear window is.
Right. Well, and everybody
like Jade.
Everybody has their what they like and don't like.
Exactly.
There are some days why I really like the coupe, and there's some days where I really like the fastback. I can't say any point in time I like this one the best. But again, I've had my hands on so many cars from my dad's junkyard and everything that I can't. It's hard for me to point at one car and say that's my favorite. Period.
Yeah, exactly. I know what you mean.
So
it's different when you support football teams. You don't change that.
I could see that.
It's not like one day it's Liverpool, the next day it's Man United. You don't do that.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You can't. It's like changing your children, selling your children. You don't do that.
Okay. All right. Well, it's been an hour and 13 minutes. So I'm gonna end up ending this session here in just a couple of minutes. I've got work to do, but it's been awesome having you here, Stein.
Yeah, so the same. It's awesome to be back. It's been a long while since I checked in actually, and I've been watching your videos, but not the live streams.
Okay.
Lately.
Well, I can't hold it against you.
So should I just press leave studio then?
I can pull you out. I can remove you, but I'm glad you're here. Maybe we'll get together and do it again sometime. Yeah. Take care of yourself.
I will. See you.
Okay. That was pretty cool to have Stein on here. Even though I know he's got problems with his hand right now, but he'll get better and move along. I've looked earlier. I think I saw 110 or 111 viewers, something like that. That's fantastic. Really, really enjoying these live streams now more and more with the interactions from everybody. And, I try to do this. I do these on Monday nights at 7, Thursdays at 3 in the afternoon. And again, I try to do it on Thursday so I can get people primarily in Europe, that can be on the stream with us, just like Stein was. So glad you all were here. Now I'm going to go over a couple. I have a couple checking in. Abdallah checking in. Glad you're here. Melinda, I don't know how to say that last name. Haju, I don't know. And Bad Harry, I love old cars. I do too. And looking forward to the next fender video. Yes, I'm working on it. I will have that out very soon, I hope. And then Judy Hops is saying hello. Well, glad you're here, Judy. Whoops. Glad you're here. Let's see. One old car I have is a 73 Cougar. Well, see, that's pretty cool. We've had several people on here talking about their Cougars and the work they've done to them over the past, several years. So I'll give you a bell for having an old Cougar. That's pretty cool. Okay. Crash Rider, another good one. I hope the increased viewers will turn into subscribers. I do too. like I said, I'm pretty excited to see these numbers going up. And a lot of it has to do with changing, I guess, the way the title of the live stream is. So hopefully, again, that picks up more on Monday nights. And so I'm going to call it a day. Really glad everybody was here. We'll have another video out. I don't know if I'll have it out tomorrow or not, but I'll try. And it'll be on the continuation of the fender for the 68 Mustang. So stay tuned for that. Again, thanks for being here. And thank you to everybody who has been using Amazon to buy products through my page. That helps tremendously. All those that have been supporting me through Patreon, I appreciate that. And also, there are still, I still have shirts on Teespring if you're interested. Variety of, a couple different designs going on there. So check those out. And that's going to be it. So until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.